So it's Sunday the 14th of April and I woke up this morning and opened Reddit and I came across that there's been another suicide at an ayahuasca center in Peru, this time at the Rainforest Healing Center. And this comes fairly hot on the heels within the last 6 months of where there was another high-profile suicide, this time at the who was the head shaman at the Blue Morpho Center in Iquitos. So, I mean, there's a couple of things to say here. The first thing I just want to get out of the way is that obviously my heart goes out to the friends and family of these people and also the staff and the co-workers at these centers. I can only imagine it's just a horrible thing to have to go through. But it does raise a question of what is going on here. Why is this happening? And it seems to me that we, as the ayahuasca community, we need to do better. And what I mean by this is that I mean this across the board, whether it's the owners of these centers, or whether it's the staff and the workers at these centers, or whether it's the guests who are visiting these centers. We need to do better. We need to do better at speaking up when something's not quite right. Now, I've experienced this myself. You know, I recently posted a review of one of the retreats that I went on, which wasn't great, to be honest. It wasn't good, and I was very worried when I came to post that review that I was going to get some kind of negative pushback from the community, because there's this vibe in the ayahuasca community that it all has to be sunshine and rainbows and positivity, and every time you drink it's a life-changing experience and it's just awesome, and the people who work at these places are just enlightened and woke, and it's just awesome. There's just nothing but awesome. And that's not the reality. I mean, it's clearly not the reality. This thing is not a magic bullet to, you know, a magic pass to heaven. It's not necessarily gonna fix all your problems. And for the people who are having trouble with it, there's a feeling, you know, there can be a feeling of oppression of saying, like, actually, I'm having a really shitty time here. I'm like, this is not good, and this center sucks, because then you're being negative, and then it's kind of everything that the community is not about, and you just didn't drink enough ayahuasca, or you didn't diet hard enough, and all this kind of bullshit just comes into play. So this is what I mean. We need to do better. So I just want to go through some of these things bit by bit. First of all, I'd encourage everyone who's interested in this story, first of all, to go and check out some of these things. It's mostly on Facebook that this is being reported. So here's the post from Malcolm Roster, who was the guy from Blue Morpho who committed suicide last year. And it's just such a sad story. He was so keen on helping people. He wanted just to be there 24/7 for other people, that he just forgot to be there for himself. And just, I mean, as he writes here, I am energetically backed into a place I envision not returning from. I dedicated my life to helping and serving as many people as I could. It's truly been an honor and privilege. And from reading some of the accounts of the guys who know him, yeah, he just spent all his time and all his energy just on other people, and it left no room for him, and he just felt he had nowhere to go. So that's a terrible story. But then we come to the one from today, which is a Rainforest Healing Center. Now, just to be clear, I've not been to Rainforest Healing Center. I have no experience of this here. But now that after this suicide, and the suicide is brutal. I mean, there's quite an account of what happened from, I think, from the owner here, or at least from one of the staff. And what's happened is one of the facilitators there has basically had some kind of breakdown, and after one of the, he wasn't actually during the ceremony, but I think they write that it was like 6 days afterwards. Okay, so here's the account of what happened, and I can't actually find the guy's name, the person who committed suicide, but here's basically the details of it. On March 27th, he walked into the kitchen and attempted to take his own life or significantly harm himself in front of some staff members. This was 6 days after his last ceremony or ingesting any plant medicine. The staff restrained him, treated his wounds, and coordinated with a private clinic for a doctor to be called. He was then carried out onto the highway where transportation was waiting for him. He was rushed to the emergency room at a clinic where he arrived unconscious. They determined he had cut a major artery. So what's happened here is the guy's gone and got a knife from the kitchen and basically started stabbing himself. Severed a few arteries. They got him to the hospital, but yeah, it's just been too late. Just an awful story. And again, I can't imagine what it was like to be at this centre while this is going down. But then after this story's come out, then we started seeing a heap of other accounts of people who were past guests or past facilitators who were now speaking up, saying, actually, this centre had a toxic culture. There was the management was bad, the facilitators were overworked, underpaid. There was some talk of sexual abuse in here. And there's some very long posts by this person called Erin Mustafa, who, very detailed posts. I'll just read some of it out here. The experience at Rainforest Healing Centre was truly amazing 95% of the time. I was also a guest there once for 20 consecutive days, and I truly found the medicine centre I was dreaming of. It was a very harsh reality I experienced coming back and witnessing what went on behind the scenes. For what was sold to me as an apprenticeship in which I would be certified by Rainforest Healing Centre to serve medicine after 3 months of training, with some volunteering to add value to the cost of £3,000. Now, I read this, I just thought, this is a huge warning sign, and I've seen this kind of, what I think is complete bullshit before. I see so many people on these retreats who they have these experiences with the medicine, and then they decide that they want to work with this medicine. They want to become a facilitator. They want to throw away their modern life and go and live in the jungle and be a facilitator. And some centres will let you pay to do that. They will give you a job working, cleaning, looking after people, if you pay them to. I mentioned this on my review of Ayahuasca International, how they had a similar, pay us and we'll teach you to be a facilitator, we'll teach you to be an apprentice. And this is just a huge red flag. Look, if you are there working, you need to get paid. And to owners of these centres, this is bullshit. If you have people working, then you pay them. You don't have them pay you. This is just, for anyone who sees this should be a huge red flag. So this person paid $3,000 to go and work, with the dream of becoming a facilitator at the end of it. So again, a person with very good intentions, but very naive. And certainly I've heard this on the retreats I've been on. I was talking to one guy at one retreat, and I was asking them, because it seems so idyllic. It seems like this is just going to be a perfect life, that you're going to be living in the jungle and everything's going to be awesome. I've seen, what do you get paid? And it's like, no, we don't get paid. We just, we get paid in the medicine. I was like, but you're cleaning up vomit, and you're cleaning toilets, and you're preparing food and stuff. I mean, what are you getting? You don't get paid anything. They're like, no. And I just thought, oh my God, this is just such manipulation and so nasty. So people who own these centres, pay your staff, pay them properly. These people are angels, man. When I've been on retreat, some of these people have looked after me so well, and the idea that they're not being compensated for their massive efforts, staying up till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, dealing with people screaming and traumatized, puke all over the place, and they're not getting paid, that's awful. So this is my first statement to the owners of these centres. You need to step up your game. You need to be paying these people what they're worth, because they're worth a lot. Now, next, I want to talk to those people, to the people who are in those roles. If you get in there and you're working at these places and you feel that it's, there's something sinister going on, or that you're not getting the time off. I mean, this is one of the big complaints that Erin makes here in her time as a facilitator, is that they just weren't getting any time off. They were expected to basically do the ceremonies until like 3-4 in the morning, then get up like a couple of hours later, prepare breakfast, then after breakfast, then go into group share, listen to while everyone's talking about what they've been through, come out of that, do some kind of yoga class, then prepare lunch. They just weren't getting time even to sleep, and promises were made that there'd be extra staff, and it just never happened. Now, again, put your idealism aside. If this is the working conditions at these places, then you are not going to be in any state to help anybody. And you need to speak up. And I get it. I get why you could become so invested and so wanting to be part of this beautiful dream. But if the beautiful dream is not a beautiful dream and is instead a fucking nightmare, then it's on you. You are the people who can stop this. And I'm sorry, but it coming out after someone's been driven to stab themselves to death, it's too late. And again, I don't mean this as a personal attack against any of these people. I think it's good to hear that they're speaking up now. But guys, you've got to do this sooner. This is if shit's going down and the centre's, there's something bad about the centre, then you are the people who can help. You are the people who can fix this. And then my last statement is to the guests at these places, of which I have been a guest at many of these things. And again, I want to put this, put it on to you. Be better, be more honest about what's going on here. Now, I've been on quite a few retreats myself, and yes, you can have an amazing time, and yes, you can have these transformative experiences, and it's magical and it's awesome. But people get so hung up upon having these kind of experiences and wanting to be part of the club that sometimes they just don't say, like, guys, I'm having a really fucking tough time here. I really need some help. Everyone's so focused on it being amazing and wow, you guys are my family and we're going to be together forever and we're going to remember you guys. This is the most amazing time. Yeah, you're probably not going to actually. In a few months, you're probably going to forget about most of these people. It doesn't always happen that it's magic and awesome and that you just bond with people forever. Of course that can happen. Of course, it happens all over the place. But people want it so badly to happen that they just neglect what's going on inside them, what's necessarily the reality, and just speaking up if something's not right. Yeah, one of the retreats that I was on, there was this girl there. She was such a nice person, and she was just so obviously in a bad state, but she was walking around with a big smile on her face, just telling everyone how awesome it was and like how she was gonna, everyone was her, on day one, everyone was her best friend. She loved us all. She loved us all so much on our first day, and I'll never forget you guys. And it was just so desperate, and it was just so false. And I was trying to say to her, look, just you don't have to act like this. Let these things come naturally. No, this is gonna be awesome. I'm having the best time ever. And yeah, and no surprise, she wasn't. She was having a really fucking awful time. So guests, be honest with yourself and be honest with the staff there and be honest with your reviews. You don't have to come back and post all over Facebook that you've had this, awesome experience which has changed your life. If it sucked, then it sucked, and be honest about it. And that will make people improve. It will make centers improve. It will bring honesty to the community. So please, again, to all these people, we need to do better. Let's do better. Let's be honest about what's going on. That's not to say that we need to shit on all over these things, but I'm concerned when I see these kind of things happening, these suicides getting to paper, that it just casts such a negative shadow over the whole ayahuasca community. And then obviously stuff's going to happen. These are traumatized people, but then when it happens and then everyone comes out of the woodwork saying, yeah, actually this place really sucked, then what does that say about us? What does it say about us as a community? We sound deluded. We sound false and fake, and it just lends weight that we're just completely full of shit, which I don't believe that we are. I think this is a great thing. I think ayahuasca is a wonderful tool. I think the experiences can be magical, but let's try and cut out the clouds of unicorns and just be honest about what's happening. Okay, so I think that turned into a little bit more of a rant than what I wanted to do, but I hope I made my point. Guys, thanks a lot for listening, and if you like the content here on Adeptus Psychonauticum, please like and subscribe, and again, please do better for when you're on one of these retreats. Thanks a lot.